Good morning, everybody. I'm Carl Rust, and I am a member of the board of this congregation. Welcome to you all. We are the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart, a welcoming community encouraging religious freedom, nurturing individual, spiritual, and ethical growth, celebrating diversity, and promoting a just and sustainable world. So I'm here in Las Vegas, and as is our custom, the Sunday after board meeting, I come in, usually in person, and talk about some of the things that happened at the board meeting. Before I say that, remember you are actually physically present to silence your cell phones and join for coffee and conversation. If I'm not mistaken, this might be potluck day. So even if you didn't bring food to share, you're still welcome to come to potluck. So at the board meeting, we discussed a number of things coming up. We have our annual meeting coming up soon. We did approve a budget that was presented by Ken Claiborne, treasurer, and we will be sending that out with the annual report. The search committee informed us that they are making progress, and I think William Becker is going to have a morning musing today, so he'll fill you in on more. But I just want to say that the board is completely supportive of what the search committee is doing. We stand behind them, and they are the sole people that are responsible for trying to find us a minister for the future. So if you have, and William may repeat some of this, but I just want to make sure you know that the board fully supports the nominating committee. No progress on the First Congregational UCC Church renting the building, still kind of talking about that. We're still looking into some bookkeeping services. We had this interesting discussion about the food pantry and how we can best meet the needs of our congregation and the community. And you'll be hearing more about that as things go by, as things go on. Let's see, what else did we talk about? As always, the minutes are posted, and they are going to be posted physically at the fellowship and also online. And you can also grab one of the board members who happen to be physically there and ask them any questions. And so I enjoy the service, and hopefully I will be able to attend. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Judy Darnell. I'm here with Fellowship Life, and it's amazing just how I can run this off Saturday night and have changes when I get here Sunday morning. Okay. I was going to do some thanking, but Linda Becker wants to do that at the end. And I will remind you that next Saturday, the 22nd at 9 o'clock, is a church cleanup again. So because we do have 2 buildings, we have a lot of property and a lot of trees and sticks and things like that. So, and I brought Linda and I both brought snacks yesterday, and I will bring some snacks for those who are cleaning up next Saturday as well. Okay, last week I mentioned Charlie Bussard's passing and didn't have any information about the service, but I've got an official announcement right here that Charlie's family has announced that they are having a memorial celebration of his life at Union, Michigan Conservation Club at 1 o'clock on May 6th. They have asked that anyone who is planning to attend to please notify Caroline Anderson so that they will have an idea of how much food to prepare, and she will pass that information on to them. Although some members of the fellowship may attend the celebration, we may also decide to have a memorial service at a later date. So, and I'm supposed to run this for the next couple of Sundays as well. So, and let's see here, when we'll put it in the focus. Our semi-annual County Road 9 cleanup will take place on Saturday, May 6th from 9 to 10. The people will meet at CVS at the corner of Bristol and Johnson Streets, and the sign-up sheet is on Ivy Island. So we need a team of 16 people to get this done as quickly as possible. And Steve Kripe has information if you'd like to talk to him about that. This afternoon at 4 o'clock is our euchre games, and I just had it whispered in my ear that there will be soup. And also, toward the end of the month, on the 29th at 5 o'clock is our Beltane ritual. Randy Demerly's here. He can answer questions about that. Lorna Lane has information also. And so it starts with the ritual, I think, usually at 5:30 and followed by the shared dinner. Please join Laura Snow and me to discuss Octavia Butler's futuristic novel, The Parable of the Sower. It is set in the distant future of 2024. This story explores one version of how our world might be if current environmental and social trends continue. We meet here at 7 o'clock, and then we will meet on the first Tuesday, which is the 2nd of May. Committee chairs and everyone else who has news to share with the congregation, remember that the focus deadline is the 25th. That's next Tuesday, not the day after tomorrow, but the next Tuesday. So get your taxes completed, email your committee activities or other news to me, and then relax. And with that, since I forgot to get some important numbers, I'm going to adjourn with whichever children want to join me, and we will do something interesting that we haven't done before. So we'll see you later.
Hi, I'm Linda Becker, and I'm here for a quick thank you for the work we got done yesterday. But first, we're working on the Learning Center, and many of you have volunteered, and I wanted to acknowledge that. But I have to tell you about the surprise phone call on Tuesday. We've been working on this, we've been painting, we've been cleaning. We're nowhere near done. Well, we weren't. And then we get the call that they can lay the floor on Thursday. Not this coming Thursday, but Thursday. So all of a sudden we had to scramble and get things off the floor and moved and rearranged and ready for laying of the floor. And they have started. They were here Thursday and Friday, and they've got the kitchen done and some of the dining room, and it's looking great. So we had a really good day on Saturday, doing some last minute rearranging. We were washing cabinets and walls and floors and a lot of yard work, and it was wonderful. I want to thank the people that have been part of this. Mike Darnell tremendously, and Judy, of course. Oksana Dwight and Dustin Fish have been here. Janelle Crump, TJ Sham, Ronna Linda Gill, Katrina, myself and my husband, Ken Claiborne, Laura Snow with painting, Carolee Searles in the kitchen, Pam Wycliffe painting, Carolyn Anderson cleaning and painting, Randy Demerly was there, Chuck Bauer, did I say that already? Taylor, Oksana twice, Judy Darnell twice, Mike twice, Pam twice, TJ twice, and Susie Holshoe. They did an amazing job. We're not done yet, and if you haven't volunteered and still would like to do that, that would be wonderful, but thank you, because it was a great day yesterday. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Andrea Houghton. We ring the gong 3 times. Once for those who came before us and made a place for us, once for those who are here now, and once for those who will come after us and build on the dream. We light this chalice today We light this chalice today in honor of the Unitarian Universalist first principle, to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We recognize that these are not just words to be spoken. Instead, they call us out of our comfort into an ever-deepening commitment, a commitment we make to the rights of all whose inherent worth and dignity are denied, diminished, or destroyed by systems of oppression. And they call us into the practice of looking into our own hearts with courage and honesty.
Good morning, everyone. My name is William Becker. I don't see Dwight Fish here this morning. He is the chair of our ministerial search committee. Dwight, would you want to come on up, please? He should really be giving the update since he is our chair. I'd be glad to give it, but I think Dwight is. No, please.
We're just cooking food, getting ready. Everybody hungry? I don't see heads shaking like this. They're going, well, hi, I'm Dwight. What's your name? All right. Hi. Well, I'm the chair of the search committee, and we're not having any responses yet to our profile online at UUA, but it's complete. We've done our work, and we're excited about the possibilities. We're excited because we've got a good profile showing people out there in the UU world that we mean something, that we have a good message, that we're sincere about our love and our want for a minister. Part-time minister is what we're budgeted for. If you do want to go online, you can go to ministrysearch.uua.org and look at our profile. And it's fun to read because there's things in there that I hadn't thought about before that we've written and expanded on, and so it's a lot of fun that way. So the process is this: someone who's interested in being a minister, changing places within the UUA system, goes on our portal that's based out of Massachusetts, and there are hundreds of listings, part-time, contract, music education people, all the way down through the list of job descriptions. But our contract minister profile is there, along with a lot of other places, South Bend and Fort Wayne and Indianapolis, people who have openings or are looking for a replacement. So it's a lot of fun in the process of learning what's out there and the churches that are in need of good spiritual guidance. And we're one of those churches. Any questions on what we're doing and how it's going forth? Did I cover everything pretty well, William?
I think so. I think the important thing to also mention is that it is a very complete and complicated process. That means it doesn't happen in a day or a month or maybe even a year.
Yep, it'll take time. It'll take time because some people are looking for full-time, or a graduate from the UU accredited school will be looking for a new job full-time, generally speaking. But I mean, it's always a possibility if we can raise more money, if we can embrace that person and help cultivate them as well as them cultivate us, we might be able to move into a full-time ministry situation. So I think that pretty well covers it. It's been quite exciting. So, and thank you all for your support and all of your wisdom in answering questions and doing profile, the questionnaire that we had earlier this year. That all helped us put a real nice frame around what we want and who we're willing to share our time with.
Dwight, you might also introduce the other two members of our committee. So if anyone wants to talk to us about
Okay.
the ministerial search,
Let's see, TJ Sham.
DJ's over here.
Okay, over there, and Laura Snow. They've got their wave. That's a good queen wave right there. And May 6th is the coronation if you're interested. But well, peace to all of you, and I got to go back and make some more food so we got something to eat. I mean, although there's a lot of good stuff in there, just our share. Okay, peace.
Now I will lead in the covenant. Please join me. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant.
Our loose plate offering today is going to be shared with the Elkhart County Women's Shelter, and we can go ahead and start the offering now.
Now is the time in our service when we share with each other what is on our hearts, joys and concerns, celebrations, milestones, gratitudes. Please come up and speak into the mic, which will be in here. State your name so we may get to know you better, and choose a stone or shell and drop it in the water. Tell us what you would like to share, and tell us the highlights and save the details for after the service. Now,
If you're willing and able, would you please stand and we'll sing number 113. And we'll do all 5 verses. Thank you. Is our holy land within the human soul, wherever minds truly seek the character, the goal. We're doing this a cappella. With is a paradise in aspiration's sight, wherein we hope that the arise 10,000 years of right. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. So we have a sort of classic responsive reading this morning and a little bit of preparation for it first. For those who do not feel unsafe in their bodies, we will have multiple opportunities to feel a bit. If you do feel unsafe in your body, I'm sorry, and please imagine thinking about feelings out there in a much more abstract way. So part of our covenant together today is that we are all in choice. We have the opportunity to choose how we will participate, how far we will go, whether you'll play along, and when and where you will draw boundaries. And we breathe. And as we breathe, let us ground ourselves in this present moment. And as we are breathing, let us notice a smell, some of that amazing food cooking perhaps, a sight, a sound, an object, a patch of color. Pay attention to some tactile sensation that is available to you. Choose something to which you can return if you need to later. And we breathe. Just notice the temperature of the room, how you're experiencing that, and what emotions, if any, you are feeling. As a non-creedal tradition, we do not require you to believe any particular thing to join this congregation. And as a covenantal tradition, we value consent. And we value brave space, where we all use our agency to challenge ourselves to experience a little bit of discomfort in pursuit of wider understanding and greater compassion. Knowing that we can always return to the sights, the smells, the sounds, or the textures that have grounded us in the present. If we get overwhelmed or triggered, let us plunge forward. It's possible something in this service will anger you, and that's okay. You are right to have the feelings you are having. And I hope you will pause a moment in your anger and ask if that anger is trying to teach you something. So finally, our responsive reading. The response will be, I would prefer not to. Unless you really would like to do it, in which case you can answer in the affirmative or remain silent. So let's just practice here. Do you want to end the service early and go home and finish your income tax forms? I would prefer not to. I know you're willing to do an honest day's work for an honest wage, but will you give up holidays and miss family events to get a more prestigious title? Ignore your own health to earn Worker of the Month. Accept being required to ask to use the bathroom and then be timed while in there to qualify for at least some form of health insurance. Work longer hours now and retire at a later age for the privilege of judging others lazy and un-American. Ignore your own circadian rhythm and take ever-increasing amounts of stimulants during the day and soporifics to get to sleep. Internalize the voice of judgment so that you're your own first and worst critic. Learn to never engage in conflict because conflict can lead to strong feelings which might reduce productivity, but rather perfect the art of passive aggression. I know we're all Midwesterners here, but assume that the urgency and perfectionism of others automatically obligates you to live up to their expectations. Risk never actually healing because society teaches us to pretend we're not hurt. And this last one may elicit a different response. We don't have to respond out loud or at all. Knowing that society can be difficult to change, would you prefer comfort and predictability, or would you risk seeking communal support while acknowledging some of your human vulnerabilities? Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jenny Hopper, for those who don't know me. And I can't tell from here if it's out on the mic or not. Okay. So I'm going to read a reading written by Tricia Hersey. She was born on the south side of Chicago in 1970. She was a founder of NAP Ministry, and this is excerpted from her book, Rest in Resistance, a Manifesto. Who is resting for? Rest is for who is resting for? Rest is for the weary, for the hard workers, for those trying to make a way, for those making a way yet still suffering from disconnection, for those wondering when they will be able to get a full night's sleep, for the faith workers and those out on the front lines, to those who are raising children and trying to do what's the best, to the entrepreneur, to the unemployed, to the blue-collar worker, to the white-collar worker, to those brainwashed by a system that has taught you you aren't enough unless you produce rest. Rest is for all of us. What rest and resistance is not. We are resting not to do more and come back stronger and more productive for a capitalist system. Rest is not a luxury or privilege. One day, I hope we can all deprogram from the lie that rest, resistance, can't see what I'm reading. From the lie that rest, silence, and pausing is a luxury and a privilege. We have replaced our inherent self-esteem with toxic productivity. You don't have to always be creating, doing, and contributing to the world. Your birth grants you rest and leisure as well.
Well, I want to introduce our guest minister this morning. Reverend Chip Roush has been serving the First Unitarian Church of South Bend since 2013, which makes him the longest tenured UU minister in the state of Indiana. Reverend Roush is a co-editor of The Arc of the Universe is Long, Unitarian Universalist, Anti-Racism, and The Journey from Calgary. He and his wife Becky live just across the border in Buchanan, Michigan, a state which recently repealed its so-called right-to-work law. Please warmly welcome Reverend Chip Roush.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Jenny. That's the emotions I was talking about today. Bless you. And we breathe. And we feel, because we're human beings. How many of us remember people carrying pagers around on their belt a lot? Some of us, several of us. How many have more than a couple unanswered emails in your primary inbox? How many feel guilty about that? So the pager was invented in 1949, and they were used primarily by physicians in New York City through the 1950s. They're also called beepers, and they were widely used in the 80s and 90s. In the early 90s, I helped build and run a recording studio / theater / cabaret in Columbus, Ohio. I moved away and stopped working with that theater troupe. They thrived anyway, somehow. And then when I moved back to Columbus, they'd built a brand new, bigger, fancier cabaret. I went to their grand opening and sat in the balcony of the Shadowbox Easton Theater, and I was sweating bullets as my pager buzzed every 6 minutes. I was desperate to stay to the end and see my old friends, and I knew I needed to drive home immediately and log into my computer and fix whatever was going wrong with the database I was in charge of taking care of. Even as I sat there in agony, I was feeling pride that I was important enough to have a pager. I was perversely glad, considered myself fortunate to have a job that could interrupt and interfere with my life at any time. On one of our first Thanksgivings together, my wife and I were supposed to go to her family in Kentucky, and the buzzer went off on my beeper, and Becky made a last-minute trip to the grocery to salvage a somewhat festive meal while I slogged away on the computer in our home office. A few years later, I worked late into the night on the company laptop, which was a luggable at the time, if that makes sense to anybody. We were in a hotel room in Florida where my mother was sleeping the night before we went to the funeral of her father. I guess I'm glad at least it didn't interrupt the funeral. I'm not mad about any of this. I would probably choose to do it again. It's the choice thing. I was never really given a choice about all this. I wasn't able to give informed consent. I learned from a young age that work was the most important thing. What do we ask little kids when we see them? What do you want to be when you grow up? Not what makes you happy. What's interesting to you these days? What questions have you been asking? Instead, we ask, how will you sell your body to corporate capitalism? Now, some of us may be angry, and if you're willing and able to sit with that, please stick on to the end. We are in choice. Why am I talking about feelings so much today? To the extent that I understand it, and I am still learning, the idea is that our culture pushes productivity over humanity. This is partly capitalism, it's partly white supremacy culture. The more exhausted we are, the less energy we have to resist, to demonstrate, to stand up for our human rights. In particular, in a recent Unraveling Whiteness class, they spent a lot of time encouraging us to just engage our senses, notice the feelings in our body. Culture wants us to not notice any feelings, to be stuck in our heads so we don't notice any of grief or anger, which would make us less profitable and more inclined to resist. And when we do experience emotions, then the culture has a variety of substances to help numb those feelings at a small fee, of course. This means we don't solely have to demonstrate and fight the man in the streets or in the forests near Atlanta. It means we can also undermine white supremacy culture by feeling our emotions and occasionally taking a nap. We heard a little bit about the nap ministry. Tricia Hersey, she wrote, "We are resting not to do more and come back stronger and more productive for a capitalist system. Rest is not a luxury or a privilege. This is true for all of us." And as a Black woman, Hersey writes with a particular emphasis, "This book is a testimony and testament of my refusal to donate my body to a system that still owes a debt to my ancestors for the theft of their labor." In our Western, primarily Christian culture, rest is often talked about in the form of Sabbath. From the story of creation in the Hebrew Bible, God worked for 6 days and then rested for one. Concept is humans are made in the image of God. We have inherent worth and dignity because we're a part of God. And so we do work. Yes, work is to be celebrated if it is in balance with some rest. It's not just Christian, other traditions talk about this. The Taoists talk about simply eating when they are hungry and resting when they are tired. However, in this culture these days, white supremacy culture and capitalism have taken over and encourage us to work beyond our limits and to not rest. Now, these are not mindless, implacable forces. They're not godlike entities. They are human-created systems which benefit some at the expense of others. The owner class wants workers to be productive and predictable and persistent. When European immigrants first moved to this continent, they were taught to forego their old country culture and their old country customs. They were shamed if they skipped work to celebrate their old holidays with their families. Later, they were told to come to work every day at the same time and work long hours to support the company's profitability and thereby earn whiteness. And you know, we treat non-whites pretty badly, so you want to be known as whites. So come to work on time and stay as long as we tell you. Sometimes you hear someone say, I work 60 hours a week. Is that a cry for help or a prideful boast, or both? The trade-offs of end-stage capitalism and near-peak white supremacy culture are be silent and consume and receive the few perks that the owner class will dole out to us. Do not feel, numb out if you do feel. Enjoy the distractions of television and shopping. Do not rock the boat, and we will reward you by allowing you to continue working for fewer benefits and ever receding retirement date, and will allow you to believe that all your sacrifices and all the sacrifices you taught your children to make were worth it. This is oppression. In our chalice lighting, Andrea read, our ever-deepening commitment to the rights of all whose inherent worth and dignity are denied, diminished, or destroyed by systems of oppression. Talking about us here and virtually everyone else. It's not necessarily easy in our current culture. It's hard to escape or make room for humane existence. We can do what we can. Take naps when you need. If you aren't able to rest, acknowledge that. Let it fuel your resolve to make changes when and where we can. Feel joy, feel anger, feel all of our natural, normal human emotions. Allow your feelings to move you to action. Educate yourself, seek others who are aware of these things. Avail yourself of the antidotes that others offer and share those antidotes with those you find wide. Share those antidotes with others widely. One of those antidotes is this congregation right here, coming together in congregational community where we value each other for our inherent worth and dignity, not just our punctuality and our work product. Yes, work has its value. The folks that have been out in the yard, the people working on the other building over there, volunteerism is a gift, and we are right to appreciate that. Speaking on Sunday mornings, making music, being a shoulder to cry on, offering rides and soup, and taking a nap is a good thing as an antidote to this culture. May we rest, may we feel, may we breathe as vulnerable, fallible, wonderful human beings that we are. So may we be.
I would love for us to have congregational reflections, but given our time, maybe we can comment with Reverend Chip after the service and while we're waiting on everything to get ready out here. So Steve, please lead us in our hymn.
Since coming back from COVID and having the video going for our hymns, we've had the tradition of remain standing during the benediction and then sit for the postlude as Lizzie plays that. Would you stand if you are willing and able? And sing number 100, I've Got Peace Like a River. Stand, please.